Hello and welcome to Data Planet. I'm Emma Davis, and today's guest is Kate Galligan, Director of Growth Marketing at the Appalachian Mountain Club. Welcome to the show, Kate.
Hi, Emma.
All right, so to start, tell me about the Appalachian Mountain Club. What is your mission as an organization, and what is your role in that mission as the Director of Growth Marketing?
AMZ's mission is to foster the protection, enjoyment, and understanding of the outdoors. But really, what that means is we are at the center of people and the outdoors. We're the oldest conservation and recreation organization in the US, actually, 150 years old this year. Uh,
Hey, happy
and we're,
birthday.
thank you. I just want to see my AMC 150 flag.
Oh my gosh, beautiful.
Pretty cool. And ultimately, we are a member run and volunteer run organization. We have 90,000 members across 11 different chapters in the Northeast and Mid Atlantic. So that's AMC in a nutshell for you.
Nice. So, what are you doing in that ecosystem? What does a Director of Growth Marketing do in an organization like that? I'm used to talking about like profit and, growth and expansion, and this is more mission. So like how are you measuring success?
It's not that different for me personally. So within growth marketing, it's very much revenue focused. Um, but revenue is the key to delivering on the mission. So we have several different revenue streams, including donors, membership, um, our lodging locations, as well as merch, and some other smaller revenue streams around the org. And so my job is to help grow those in service of allowing us to deliver on our mission, whether it's supporting our conservation efforts, including trail building, land management, research, and also all sorts of things along the lines of actually supporting the recreation, getting people outdoors, hiking, paddling, all of those types of activities, and connecting the two. So as people get outdoors, make sure that they are caring about it and protecting it.
Yeah. And so I know that this is near and dear to your heart, just having known you. Listeners, Kate and I have known each other for about 8 years, I think.
Been a
Um,
while.
it's been a while, and I know that you love the outdoors. I also know that you love a new challenge. You're someone who's inherently like, let me just check. Do I feel challenged right now? Yes. Okay, good. Or like, no. All right. I need a new challenge. Like you're very interested in, um, and a big proponent of personal and professional growth as intentional journeys. So, with that in mind, what drew you to AMC?
It was really two things, actually. So I would say the first thing was who I got to work for. So I work for the chief growth officer, Scarlett Batchelor, and she is intelligent and um, moves at a similar pace to me, which is fast and is also very much an idea generator. And so I've been really lucky to have some incredible managers in my life, but it's really nice to have somebody that I can model myself after. So just from a career perspective, that was one of the things that drew me in. On the mission side, I have cared deeply about the outdoors for as long as I can remember, my very early life. And it wasn't until my adult life when I started doing some cooler adventures, mountaineering in the Alaska, Denali Range, and things like that, that I kind of started to understand how seeing a beautiful place can inspire you to want to preserve it. And so the mission of AMC just resonated with me very deeply. Um, I knew that I wanted to land in nonprofits, and I assumed that something around the outdoors um, would be that goal. And I think conservation specifically is what drew me in even more
Yeah.
than recreation.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who's known you for a while and as someone who also knows other people have known you for a while, when you started working there, it was very much a like, yes, of course, this makes sense. Like, um, so I'm glad you and AMC found each other. In talking about what you're doing at AMC, what are some of the unique challenges there? So you mentioned, um, it's not that different from the types of growth marketing that you and I have worked on together in the past or, been aware of together. There's still this a need to, make your marketing investments turn into value for the organization to power whatever you're trying to do with that organization. But not many companies that I've worked with or any are like volunteer led organizations. What does that look like?
Is one of the coolest things that, as a growth marketer that you can run into. So say the the thing that keeps me going is the constant challenge of trying to figure out what of this incredible gold mine I should be focusing on. Because when you're a 150-year-old organization that is volunteer run, there are going to be a million different initiatives and things that have been created within the organization, especially when you start thinking about those 11 chapters, which all have their individual goals tied to their individual locations, and their surrounding areas, whether those are mountains or lakes or rivers or all sorts of different things like that. So, and the policies as well within each state. So, as you can imagine, there are so many different initiatives that we can promote to achieve this overall mission of connecting people to the outdoors more deeply. Um, and so my job is really listening to find what pieces of those I can scale.
Mhm.
Um, and that is what is the most fun because um, I think you get to end up building something of your own in many ways by identifying those things, which will benefit ideally all of our members and all of our volunteers. So there's so many cool things that are going on, but what are the things that um, work for everybody essentially?
Yeah. So, can you give me some examples of the types of things you're weighing when you're trying to prioritize what to put your cycles or your budget or whatever into among the myriad options that you have there?
Yeah, it's two things. So it's revenue impact and long term feasibility for like the amount of work that we're doing. So right now in our marketing team, we are overcompensating for a lack of systems. And so it's a combination of building systems that will be able to scale long term, but also immediate revenue impact because we don't want to only focus on long term projects that will help our revenue 5 years from now,
Mhm.
um, but you know, lose our current goals immediately. We
Mhm.
also have a really great strategic plan, the All Out Action Plan, which you can look at our on our website. But it basically guides what we're aiming towards for the next couple of years. It ends in 2030, and the primary focus of it is growing from 90,000 members to 150,000 members. So
Wow.
that's also a primary North Star for me as well, in addition to how I'm prioritizing the marketing team's work.
I know that you love to test and experiment and try out ideas. So there's this real balance, I think, that makes for good marketing between like what is certain and measurable and um justifiable for value and what's like exciting and new and we don't know how high is up on that. And so how are you finding the balance between those working for you on the day to day? Do you find because it's more mission oriented, like I just feel like I need to be really precious with these resources, or is it still like, well, being taking risks and going big is being precious with those resources, like how are you balancing those two ends of the value marketing spectrum?
Yeah, it's a great question. On one end, we have really solid goals around the volume of conversions that we're going for each of our revenue streams. And so um, we build our marketing plans to hit those goals. We determine the promos that we're running to make sure that we're doing that each year. And last year we blew it out of the water, so
Nice.
awesome, and this year we're on
Congrats.
track to do the same. So,
Mhm.
that's really exciting. Simultaneously, the long-term thing I'm constantly thinking about is, great, we can optimize the audience, to a point where there's nothing left to optimize, but how are we growing that audience? And that requires some really big risk taking. Or if you trust yourself and build strategy that you believe in and have the right people in the room, then it doesn't feel like a risk. It just feels like the obvious decision to make.
Mm.
Um, so when it comes to that side, getting creative, what I love about this role is being able to pull in people from across the organization to think about what are we going to do to grow the audience in a way that we have never before, because we can hit our revenue goals with the current audience, but to hit that 150,000 members, we need significant awareness, which is not as measurable. So
Mhm.
it's thinking about things like our 150th celebration, which is, I know you and I have chatted about this a little
Yeah,
bit, but
but
it's a
yeah, talk
relay.
about that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool project. So I mentioned Scarlett, my boss, earlier, and a couple of years ago, she came up with the idea for our 150th year to run a relay from Virginia to Maine. It's a months long adventure that is volunteer and member led. It's hiking, paddling, biking. It started on March 14th, um, in Shenandoah National Park, and is ending in the Maine woods, at one of our locations up there, which is, on September 19th, which is absolutely just the coolest thing you can possibly imagine. And the whole way they're carrying a pennant flag, AMC 150 written on it, and people are signing it the whole way up. So it's just this huge opportunity, um, for those awareness channels, for press, for influencers to get involved, to activate our full membership community, through word of mouth. So it's really like creating a human interest story, about connection and, what happens in the outdoors, and then being able to use that to drive growth in our audiences, really more of a grassroots approach than, conversions. So that's a
Mhm.
really good example of one of those ways to activate. We also just got a new, PR firm that is really, really thoughtful about building events, and bringing the right people into the room and making sure that, um, local press and also national press is aware of, just who's going to be there and why they should show up, and,
Mm.
um, like essentially creating something that's worth showing up to,
Mhm.
um, as opposed to just inviting people and hoping it goes well. And that's something that I'm thinking about really deeply, as well as, yes, we have these awesome marketing channels that we can consistently use to promote what we're currently doing, but how are we connecting, our messaging and, what we're talking about to what's happening on the ground? If chapters are, doing a bunch of migration birding trips right now because May is like birding month, how is that reflected in our digital communications?
Mhm.
Um, so just really thinking about connecting the on the ground experience to our, um, digital experience as well. So those are some of the bigger jumps we're taking.
Yeah. And I mean, I love the relay. You know, it's so
It's so
it,
cool.
it's such a like, oh, duh. It's yes, for promotion, for celebration, but doing the thing that the members care about. Like, oh yeah, this is the point of it is we're connecting with nature, we're connecting with each other, also creating this like unified, bringing the organization together all along the trail kind of a thing. It's really beautiful. um Yeah, PR, that's, not my area of expertise at all, so I love the idea of, like, let's bring somebody in who knows how to do this really well. Um, how are you feeling pulled or not pulled in different directions by the different chapters and different interests of the chapters? Like, do they operate as stakeholders for, the AMC
Yeah, in some
national
ways.
overall?
I mean, there's so many different inputs to my work, but chapters is definitely one of them. And I think beyond chapters, members. So we know that a portion of our members actually don't engage with chapters. They are our members because they believe in the trail work that we do, and they want to support that. So um, members at large, but also within chapters, there's often a pull. For me, I'm thinking about the place, the places that they really exist. So what are the trails that are near them, and what is the outdoor experience near them? So the White Mountains with the New Hampshire chapter is a very different experience than the main chapter, where um, we have these incredible dark skies. We're the only international dark sky park on the East Coast. Um, and so, you know, Astrotourism is a very different thing and a different pull than the White Mountains. Um, and so really understanding when chapters are creating things, what they care about, because it and the land that's around them, because it changes what they're going to promote. So the policies that we'll work on are going to be different in Maine than they are in the White Mountains. A couple of examples would be the White Mountains and the New Hampshire chapter really care about the roadless rule, making sure that roads aren't built through mountains. Um, and in Maine, we really care about protecting dark skies and making sure that light pollution is limited. And so the recreational experience changes locally for each chapter on what policies they care about.
Mm. There's something really beautiful about that. There being this commonality of things that members care about, but also an individual, but here's what that looks like to me, or here's, how that can be best supported, or the part of that that I care about the most. Um, it's really beautiful. And I can imagine that being specific member to member too. So then, there are the regions, but then, one person, well, I really care about being able to, paddle on this lake. I don't even really hike. And, everybody just having different ways that they connect with this same mission. Um,
And for me, that just means, in those cases, making sure they have the resources.
mm,
Um, so building something that works for everybody and empowering them to do that work locally as well, as opposed to dictating, no, I'm going to focus on what the main chapter cares about, but not what the New Hampshire chapter cares about. It's how can I support both of those effectively?
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just imagining having like a central, hub or organization with all the chapters, all the individuals. Also, outdoorsy people, I would say, are more likely to treasure their independence and like their own experience than the average person, I would say, Um, so yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like you wouldn't get a great response from, hey, chapters and members, here's what we need everybody to be doing right now, as opposed to you being a central resource hub to like, let me hear you as an individual or as an individual part of this organization and really serve you in this, as opposed to demanding your service and for the overall AMC group.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I see my role in many ways. Yes, in the background, we're very much focused on revenue to support our mission delivery, whether that's trail building or research or anything else. But at the same time, our our chapters are delivering that mission beyond what staff can do in incredible ways. The volunteer hours on trails is out of this world. The number of trails that they maintain just because they want to, and they have a group of people that also cares about the same trails is, it's so far reaching. And that's the kind of thing that when you really think about building community, that's what you want to build community around. It's this shared goal, but actually getting out there and doing something. This digital age, we're all scrolling, doom scrolling on our phones forever. And
Mhm.
so if we can
How dare
give
you? I don't know what
people
you're
a
talking about.
purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, don't project your habits onto me, Kate. It's
I recently quit Instagram. Thank you very much.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome. I've quit Instagram a few times over the last few years, finding my way back, but that's
I'll be
beautiful.
back in a week. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I'll see you there. Um, See you on the digital trail, Kate. All right. Why don't we go ahead and wrap up there? Listeners, if you want to learn more about Kate and about the Appalachian Mountain Club, details will be in the show notes, or you can go to outdoors.org. Kate, thank you so much for joining Data Planet today.
Anytime. Thanks for having me, Emma.